Chapter number 5. Away from Her. Shelton, Connecticut. Day 1. I remember well. It was Saturday evening, around 7:30 p.m., when I checked into my hotel. At the reception, while making the payment with a few traveler's checks, I made sure my room had an internet connection. The bellboy helped me up to my room on the first floor. I handed over a dollar bill to him, then entered my room, leaving my baggage at the door itself. I rushed to open my laptop bag and go online at once. I logged into Yahoo Messenger. Yes, that was the very first thing I did. It was early morning in India, and I knew she would be waiting for me. And she really was. We had decided earlier that this was the time we would be on chat. Though, because I would expected a shorter journey, I was somewhat late. And after the 8-hour journey from Delhi to Hedford, the 3 hours in transit, the 8 hours from Heathrow to New York, and the 2 hours by cab from New York to Shelton, I was severely jet lagged. But those 24 hours of not being able to talk to her overrode everything else. She was delighted to see me online, and so was I. But her delight was greater, which is why she wrote so many messages in a fraction of a second. Hey, Shona, you there? How are you? When did you reach? How was your journey? Where are you now? Where there? Are you there? Buzz. And I didn't reply. Just asked her, did you miss me? So much, dear. And you? I will let you know, but first switch on your speakers and accept the voice chat request. I told her everything about my journey, the flights, the transit, the passengers, and how I missed her amid everything. She told me how she spent her entire day without talking to me. Even her family realized how much she was missing me. Hearing each other's voice after an entire day was so touching. This had never happened in the past 6 months. We kept talking for a long time, and it was only when the electricity went off in Faridabad and her UPS too gave up that we finally bid goodbye. Which was when I realized that I should take off my shoes, which I was wearing since the day before, should bring my luggage, which was still in the gallery, into my room, that in the haste to talk to her, I had left my wallet at the reception. Date 3. It was a Monday. Oh God, it's Monday. My first day at my client's office. In the office, I first met with all my colleagues from Infosys who had arrived on site before me. Some old faces and some new. In foreign lands, we Indians always tend to look for fellow Indians first. And I am proudly one of such Indian. In the next few hours, my project manager introduced me to our client and vice versa. More than their faces, I was trying to remember the way to the cafeteria, to the conference room, and of course to the restrooms. Very soon I was occupied with my work. My weekdays passed in the office, working along with my client, meeting with different stakeholders, offshore calls, and enjoying different lunches in cafeteria. In the evenings, I used to go back to my hotel and study for the cat. Often, I used to cook my dinner too. To be honest, there was nothing to cook. I just heated the frozen eatables. But no matter what I did, she was always on my mind. I missed her in my US days, and she missed me in her Indian nights. She missed me in her Indian days, and I missed her in my US nights. Life wasn't too easy. We couldn't call each other whenever we wished. Twice a day, We were on chat, my mornings after I woke up and before she went to bed, my nights before I slept and after she woke up. Day 7. We were on chat just like any other day, and she asked me to do something special for her. Shona, I want you to write me an email every day before you sleep. They will be with me, and I will read them over and over whenever I miss you. But breaking her sweet expectation, I replied, I will try, but I don't know if I can do it after such hectic days. Office, cat, chats, dinner. There is so much. I said that not because I didn't want to write the emails, but because I wanted to give her a special and beautiful surprise. I wrote a diary for her. Somehow I believed that handwritten words carry much more meaning and much more feeling in them. They have a special something that can't be conveyed in sterile electronic mails. I didn't tell her about it, but at the end of every day, I started writing my feelings for her in a diary. Each and every page described how I missed her, what all I wanted to do had she been with me, wrote small verses for her, and her half sketched pictures, which I drew while thinking of her, but left incomplete when I realized I was a poor artist. Day 12. It was a Friday. Thank God it's Friday. In the West, this day of a week is Goofy Day. Officially, it is a working day, but unofficially, it's anything but a working day. Though, because we were our client's vendor, our weekends started only from Friday evenings. Enjoying these evenings, we used to hang out in bunches at the discotheques, pubs, eating joints, and bowling alleys. Or we would drive down to the nearest city hosting a Desi movie show. And Munna Bhai was running in the US theatres too, making me recall that troubled and tender night. Weekends on site were always fun, but there was something different this time. I had to face this question from people with whom I enjoyed my weekends during my past trips. But you used to booze, right? So what happened now? I wanted to tell them the truth, but didn't. The reason being, in my earlier life, I mean, before I fell in love, I used to give them gyan, telling them guys should not change themselves for girls. How could I tell them that I had left my occasional liquor for a girl? So I had to give them a fake reasons. And I will tell you what, it's hard to give fake reasons for two reasons. First, there is a tremendous pressure from friends, especially when they are totally drunk and start swearing on each other's name to make you drink. And second, my own willingness to booze. But I didn't, and I was happy that I kept my promise to her. Day 30. One morning, it was probably 9 o'clock, I was in my office and signed into my messenger. As usual, she had left a voice message to make my day. By now, I had a plenty of them in my voice message list. They were all so sweet that I never felt like deleting any of them. But then, when the message box got full, I had to take up the difficult task of choosing which one to delete. There was one which I could never delete, though, for it was the cutest of all. In it, she was childishly angry at me because I didn't come online one day and was yelling at me despite having a cold. I was talking on offshore call, talking to my project team back in India when I saw that she had come online. I have to show you something, she messaged. To which I replied, with one hand putting to the speakerphone on mute, I am running busy. You will have to wait for a while. The next minute, my client manager grabbed me for a different meeting in another conference room. That day, I kept rushing from one meeting to another. Some days are like that, and this was that kind of day. At noon, I entered the cafeteria along with my clients for lunch, and it was then that I remembered she was waiting for me. Damn! I rushed back to my room and to my laptop, where I checked numerous messages she had left. The last one read, Kab aoge Shona? I have to show you something. The, I checked its timestamp. She wrote that an hour back. I felt bad for making her wait for me for so many hours. Working in the afternoon shift, getting back at 11 in the night, and then waiting for me for the last 3 hours. She must have been so tired, so sleepy. What did she want to show me? Had she gone? Was she asleep? Her status on the messenger appeared dormant. I quickly finished my calling card from my wallet and dialed her number. After a few rings, it got disconnected. I was trying once more when suddenly her message flashed on my laptop screen. Was it you? Are you online? I quickly got on the keyboard. Yes, dear, I wrote. Where are you? And where were you? Mm, so sorry, dear. I'm bad. I made you wait for so long. Actually, since morning, I'm running so busy here. I completely forgot that you were online waiting for me. At least I should have told you that I might not be able to turn up. This happens sometime. I can understand. She didn't shout at me. Still, but I can't wait for that thing you wanted to show me. Tell me what that was. Can you show that to me now? I asked her again. And she replied, Yes. Here comes the first one. Check your email. I refreshed my mailbox and fresh mail from her arrived in it with a subject line that read 1 and then come another 2 and then 3 then 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. 9 beautiful photographs of her, amazed and spellbound by her beauty. I kept staring at those pictures. Without any doubt, those were her best pictures. They had a magical effect on me. In that moment, I struggled with two things. First, my willingness to take my eyes off any one picture, and second, the eagerness to see the others at the same time. What a sweet surprise she gave given me. She had given me. My heart was on cloud nine, knowing that this beauty was mine. And when beauty overrides your brain, you don't know what to say. You go numb with pleasure. Then, realizing that her innocent heart had sacrificed a night's sleep waiting for me, I finally typed, Hey Angel, because that's what you look like in those pictures. Thank you so much, dear, for such a sweet surprise. Simultaneously, her message flashed on my screen. अच्छी लग रही हूँ ना मैं? You want to say something? बहुत अच्छी. I won't be able to find better words than what I am feeling. Or maybe I will. And before I could complete my line, I heard the door of my room opening, followed by footsteps. I turned back. It was my manager who was on the phone with someone and was calling me for another quick meeting. I begged his pardon for 2 minutes, in which I managed to say goodbye to her. I am still in a beautiful shock. was my last message. I didn't eat lunch that afternoon. The feast for my eyes satisfied my hunger. That day onwards, one of her pictures, the only one with a close up of hers, became my desktop's wallpaper. Day 45, I boarded my plane back to India.